Missing one over for the team Airless, but hopefully they'll be able to make a comeback in a bit here. On the team 2, we got ourselves Diabolicals, we got ourselves Displacement in the back. Oh my goodness, a big old KT Mage. It actually looks glorious. We got ourselves LFG, we got Ninja, we got ourselves Chicago. Gonna be first up versus Depopulation, roaring with a blaze of wings, ready to go blasting out Chicago. Light the last to follow as he's trying to see if he can get himself a proper setup versus Shaman. Shaman dropping down a totem, doesn't quite catch Depopulating in that one. Maybe could move the totem last second to reposition him, make a little circle around the guy. Depopulating wings is still up and running. Chicago may just need to play super defensive right now. Maybe a burrow situation, maybe just go behind the pillar, catch up a little bit out of that maelstrom. Healing, but definitely need someone in this situation. Chicago get hit with a stun, knock back into Depopulating. The guy goes flying quite a distance, trying to see if he can set up some damage of his own versus Chicago with yet another knockback. Shaman, man, even as an enhancement, you see got so much of a knockback, so much of control that you could use against melee as well as range. Depopulating with a quick blind does himself a proper stun. Also does have a judgment that does remove dots off of him, so it's going to be pretty good for him. Those Flame Sharks going to be gone. Bubble really early versus Chicago. I do wonder what kind of a setup Depopulating is playing when it comes to his big immunity. Is he going to be playing into a Spell Warden or Blessing of Protection? Chicago in a bad spot. Wall, Guardian, big Ascendance. Is it going to be enough? Oh my god, the Shaman damage just absolutely overpowers a Paladin. Isn't Paladin just absolutely slam people down left and right? But the Shaman able to turn around, mad Ascendance, got some bursts of their own. Now you gotta wait 3 minutes until you can do that again, which is unfortunate, but man, is it a lot of power. My goodness. What's up, Charles? Nice video, nice wife. Thank you so much, I appreciate ya. Thank you. Got us a Stone Blood over for the team. Looks like he is the last one that we were waiting on. That actually looks like a really good mug with the mask and the shoulders and all that. It's like, it's not quite a set, but it does kind of match together actually. Magical Beef, is it going to be him up next? Airless potentially Shad? They're waiting on who's going to be next. Is it another Paladin? So far we had these Paladins I feel like go back to back with one another. Honestly, to send out the Mage versus the Shaman, I think that'd be kind of interesting too. No, Airless instead is going to be up next. Sneaking through, trying to see if you can blast out the competition. Are we playing the no secret technique build again? All eviscerates, potentially. Kidney shot, big abysses, back to back. He's gonna try to see if he can blast through Air Chicago as he does end up dipping underground. He's gonna knock up onto Airless. Maybe could go for a knockback as well. Lightning lasso, as Airless is gonna go for a bit of a sippy. The Raptors are not gonna let you out of that side, but the Shadow Meld does end up bypassing him entirely. Kidney shot onto Chicago, does himself a Sunder, Shadow Strikes to follow, Cloaker Shot is available for the Rogue, but it's still lots of damage by Chicago. Oh my god, blasted through him. Evasion and Cloak are down, does go for advantage. That was a lot of damage. Good thing they nerfed that crit damage for PvP, otherwise I think Airless would have just been dead there. That was a lot of procs, a lot of damage. I think Chicago had Doom Winds at the ready. Shadow Strike by the Rogue, Kidney shot to follow, does himself a proper go. Trying to go for that Echo and Reprimand setup, cheap shot to follow. Got himself Shadow Strikes, back-to-back of Wizards. Maybe it'll be enough. Chipping away at Chicago little by little, though, for certain. Got himself a Gouge to follow. Looking for a bit of a retreat. Does Chicago have an answer here? Ascendance going back up in about a minute, so maybe you can combine Ascendance together with, what is it called? Doom Winds? Maybe that could be the nice little combination of just all the stormy elements combined together. Airless does end up dipping into yet another vanish as he's looking for a reset. Dampening isn't super high right now, so Chicago is able to make a quick recovery. Sap to follow, does have Shadow Blades at the ready. Chicago does have a trinket for this one, so maybe a trinket situation off the Kidney Shot. Does go for the trinket, could be a blind out of Airless anytime soon though. That's going to be a big knockback at Airless off that Sunder. Does Chicago have himself a big go? Disarm in order to make sure the Shaman isn't able just to rip apart this Rogue all that easily, but maybe he has himself a proper go. Cheap shot right after. These eviscerates are blasting right through Chicago's health right now, but does give himself a little bit of resources. Totem down into Airless is going to end up eliminating the totem. Blind to follow. The Raptors are not going to let you get out of that line of sight, but does have advantage back up and running, so could use that defensively to turn this around versus Chicago. Lasso to follow, trying to see if he can go for a bit of damage of his own. Knockback onto Airless as he does have himself yet another cheap shot onto Chicago, trying to see if he can blast him out. Shadow Strikes to follow, quite a bit of damage right after. Got himself lots of opportunity here. Knockback, and it's going to be a burrow down for Chicago. Sunder right after as the Cloak Shadows is up. Sunder able to blast. Is Sunder? Oh yeah, the Sunder is all physical. It's like Flame Shark damage, isn't it? It's not quite physical. It's not quite magical. Big Ascendance up for Chicago, but a Gouge for Airless for a second. Hold on. Maybe he gets himself out of that situation. Does he get to escape it? One strike is all he needs. Oh, the big zap, the big lightning goes through. And it looks like Shad Hunt left team 1. It looks like there's only 2 left with Magic Beef as well as Stoneblood. That was well done by Airless, trying to see if he can make a play there. I do wonder if the 4 set, even though like the crit damage for the Viscerates could be maybe kind of good, I wonder if the loss of versatility is like... I wonder if the loss of versatility would make the difference there though. But going for the no secret technique, I mean, that thing, I think it has maybe some potential. I really do hope that maybe we'll end up like doing some secret technique above the eviscerate damage to like encourage more eviscerate rather than secret technique one-shot of damage. Trying to think, yeah, same here. As Magic Beef goes in for a couple of images, got himself a little bit of survivability, trying to lock down Chicago with the Frosty Shatters, and it's gonna go for a bit of a Frozen Bomb together with the Frostbolt. Is that enough damage to maybe make a play? If you got a Flurry still on him, that is gonna do quite a bit of damage, but Magic Beef so far has been playing on the back foot for a little bit. Did more damage with the Rotten? I think the Rotten is the play. I think the Rotten is just so good. It's good, it's too good not to use, you know what I mean? Gonna be a shadow blink out for Magic Beef. Got himself a little bit of frosty damage. Blizzards onto Chicago. Chicago just needs like one more big zap from a distance. Magic may just want to go for an Ice Buck here, because the lightning bolt is gonna be instant. Chicago jipping in. Ice Buck immediately. If only he had a big lightning bolt with a big old proc, it would just been over for the mage. But for Chicago, now there's gonna be a little bit of that like, what is it, hypothermia debuff for the mage. He should be able to maybe make a play. Breath, Poly to follow. The mage trying to see if he can establish full control. Frostbomb is up over Chicago with the Frostbolt to follow. Got himself Novas as well. As long as he can go for a flurry, that could actually be quite a bit of damage. Trying to go for a knockback on Chicago, but I think he got frozen actually with all these frosty hits. Got himself the ult of time. This is where Chicago may just want to end up cleaning it off of him, if at all possible. Because if he can purge away the ult of time, I think he was able to actually. Was he? Looks like there's an ult of time. Wait a second, Magic Beef does get himself last second Ice Block at the very end. Oh my goodness. I feel like this is a more of an uneven matchup. The Shaman versus Paladin, the Shaman versus Rogue, very, very even. But a Mage, I don't know what a Frost Mage can do until 10-1, man. Or 10-1-5 rather. Once 10-1-5 is out, and they got the Water Elemental with the burst damage and everything. Oh, it's gonna be good. But right now it's a little bit on the rougher end. Trying to keep him at bay. He's able to lock him down with those constant freezes. So if anything, he definitely has fantastic control over the Shaman. It's just all about finding the shadow combo in order to blast through him. Got himself the Frostbomb. Needs that big crit. But man, is it gonna be a little bit rough here, isn't it? The Chicago does end up kind of avoiding the Frostbomb for the most part. As Magic Beef trying to see if he can get himself a better angle. Gonna be a totem down. Unless he breaks the totem, he's gonna stuck in place. It's gonna be a light loss of Chicago, but it's gonna be tricky out of Magic. He should be able to maybe get him out in the open as he tries to go for a Nova. It's gonna be a knockback. Chicago doesn't end up going super far. I think because of the frost builders, he did end up getting himself frozen. Chicago just needs like one good angle versus Magic Beef though. Just got himself a leap, Sunder to follow, maybe a big go, Breath right after, Poly, maybe a Trinket. Do you not Trinket this one? Frostbomb. This is where Magic Beef does not really have a lot of health left. But maybe can get himself a proper go for Chicago. Got himself random Bloodlust, but it's going to be an interrupt from range for Chicago. Interrupting anything on Polymorph maybe? Or something. That's going to be a little bit of AoE damage. But Magic Beef does get the random freezes onto Chicago. Chipping away his health by little. So he's able to make a little bit of pressure happen. I think Chicago maybe has a leap available together with a Sunder. If they do, this could be the end to Magic Beef right now. Lightning Lasso? I don't know if he's got an answer. I think he's just literally over in the lightning. Oh my goodness. Chicago looking for recovery before Stoneblood runs in. Giving him a little bit of an auto duel, actually. Look at that. A little bit of an auto duel between him and Stoneblood. I think is he a new competitor here? I think he's fairly new. Chicago goes in like, come on, guy. We can start playing. We can get a play shotgun, yeah. Let me get you up and running here. So Chicago, after that mage duel, was playing it super conservatively, trying to see if they can get all the cooldowns back up while they're versing the mage, trying not to commit too many cooldowns. So you're walking against Stoneblood with everything available. Is going to drop it down totem on the guy, trying to see if he can take down totem very, very quickly, hoping to maybe reach out towards versus Chicago. But as long as Chicago is able to avoid the wings and the final wreck, for the most part, you're avoiding a lot of that burst damage out of Stoneblood. And if you're able to counteract them, and burst him down, you may be in a good spot. Definitely has to deal with a bubble as well as a Blessing of Protection. That or a Spell Warden. Probably better if it's Blessing of Protection, honestly. But for Stoneblood, most likely a Spell Warden with Diabolicals and Displacement over on the other team. Big damage onto Chicago, but Stoneblood gonna hit as well with a big Sunder. Bubble to follow. For Chicago, this is a perfect situation. Just needs survivability right now. May need to pre-wall this. It's gonna be a Burrow to make sure that he's immune to any kind of damage from Stoneblood for a second. Maybe can knock him up in the air. Does knock him up. Maybe a big go into a stun. Knocks him back for a second. Stoneblood trying to see if he can find himself some cover. Chicago maybe can leap on top of him. Ghost Raptors are joining in. It's going to end up giving Chicago quite a bit of mouse to work with. Could go for a full Ascendance right now if they have a proper go. Do they go for full Ascendance? Could maybe just end the duel right now. Ascendance up. Does Stoneblood have an answer? Shield of Vengeance wings are available. Trying to see if he can go counter offensive. Does he get an opportunity though? Wall to follow for Chicago. It's a lot of defense. Now gives some lay on hands. Oh! But the Shaman just ended up slamming him out. He was playing, I think, Blessing of Protection, so he decided I'm going to use a Lay on Hands because Protection ain't going to do nothing against this magic damage that I'm going to hit by. I feel like if it was Spell Warden, he would have popped it, but then it was like Lay on Hands. I had to do it. I don't have a proper way to immune this. My goodness, that was some good damage.